How's it going, everybody? This is Corbin from Zoco Marketing, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about everything YouTube. If this is your first time running a YouTube ad campaign, then you are in the right place. I'm going to be starting from scratch from a brand new AdWords account or Google Ads account, and I'm going to talk about all the formatting, the different things that you need to set up your video, and how to get it actually running and in front of the people that you want to show it to. So we're going to jump right in. You're going to first want to start off in Google Ads and hit Start Now. After you hit Start Now, it's going to ask you to log into your Gmail account and just to set up a campaign. Once you've set up that campaign, you're going to land on a page like this. When we're on this page, because we want to go straight to creating a YouTube campaign, we're going to just switch straight to this expert mode. And don't worry, I'm going to walk you through exactly all the steps. If you already have a Google Ads account, then you don't need to worry about this part because you already have created your account. But we're going to switch to expert mode. That way we can go right into the YouTube campaigns. So it's going to ask for this guidance here. We're going to do create a campaign without goal guidance. And we are going to do a video campaign. This is important. So this gives you the option to run on YouTube is you need to hit this video campaign option. Okay, so here's all the different options that we have here. We have custom video campaign, which is 99% of the time what I do, honestly. But if you did, just so you're aware of these other options, here are the other options you have is this non-skippable in-stream videos. These are great if you have a video that's 15 to 20 seconds that you absolutely have to show to a person. The CPMs on these are obviously a lot more expensive because Google actually has to show that ad for the entire duration. So these can be a little bit more expensive, but if you're really trying to hit somebody and get your message through, the non-skippable ads can be a good target to go for. This outstream, very rarely do I recommend doing this. This is mobile-only videos, and it shows on different partner sites that are not in YouTube. So this will not show in the actual YouTube search page, and it's not something that I generally recommend. Drive more conversions is just a conversion goal action that you can choose. This ad sequence, this is one that I actually do use often. It's very cool if you have a lot of video assets that you have parts or that someone needs to see video 1 before they see video 2, and so on and so forth. You can create some really cool sequences inside of there. And then the last one is for shopping campaigns. If you do run an e-commerce store, this actually is a very good option for you to promote your products while you are showing your video. For this demonstration though, we're gonna go right into the custom video campaign. Before we do jump into the actual custom video campaign, I want people to be aware of the formats that are available to them inside of YouTube. So to do that, we're gonna go over to Google support page right here, and I'm gonna go through these real quick just with you. So inside of YouTube, there are different video formats and different links for those formats. Here are the three that are the main ones. So you have the skippable video ads, and these can be pretty much as long as you want, but the viewer can skip those ads after 5 seconds. If you spent any time on YouTube, you've definitely seen these before. And here's the everything you need to know for those. Then you have the non-skippable video ads, which these are anywhere from 15 to 20 seconds. And as I mentioned before, you cannot skip these videos. And you probably had these before and you're probably annoyed by them, but they do get the job done. They show in front of people. But the lengths for those need to be 15 to 20 seconds. And then the final one is your bumper ads. These are non-skippable as well, but they only show for 6 seconds. And so usually I typically only recommend, or you use bumper ads for a remarketing. So say they've already visited your website or they've already seen your video, it's more of a reminder. It's very hard to tell a full story in 6 seconds. So it's more just like a reminder of that video or a reminder of something that they came to see on your website is how we use bumper ads. So those are the 3 different kind of lengths and formats of YouTube videos that you can do. So we're gonna go back to our campaign now that we have an idea of what those video ratios and lengths might be. So we're gonna do custom video campaign. We're gonna hit continue. Okay, and now we are in the, move this over here. Now we're in the heart of the actual setting up of the Google Ads campaign. And here is what we are gonna be doing. So video campaign type is the type that we selected before. We're gonna name this, I'm gonna call this first YouTube campaign. Bidding strategy. So typically for YouTube, the bidding strategy that I do recommend is this maximum cost per view. You can go target CPM, which is per 1,000 views, but I do recommend the target CPV, cost per view. for your video ads, because you just want to pay for every view, and that is the way that I've seen to get it very cheap costs for kind of bang for your buck. The campaign total, you're going to give it a budget. So for this case, we're going to say maybe $20 a day. I believe you can go as little as $1 a day. You can pretty much set this to whatever you want. I don't recommend going any less than like $5 a day. But as you see, it's something very cheap that you could do. This is set to campaign total right now, which means it has a start and an end date. So if you have an event or something and it's 2 weeks out and you want to set the end date, that's a good option for you. To be honest, most of the time I keep it on a daily budget, and I just set the start date and I don't set the end date. And that way I can see the data come in. And then as I see that come in, I'll either pause or increase ad spend or decrease and kind of make adjustments from there. That's just my personal preference. But if you do have an event or a reason to only run it for a week or two, then you could do that as well. You have your location targeting. This is pretty straightforward. You can choose your location. You can go down to like, even if you're a local business and you only want to show in like certain counties or things, you can go through and target it that way as well. We're just going to keep this in the United States. Language, we're going to keep all languages. Inventory type, this is something that is very important for a lot of brands, is not showing ads that are things that might be controversial or not good for their brand perception. Most of the time you can stick with the standard inventory, but a lot of times I do recommend going with the limited inventory. That way you're not showing, because even on this standard inventory, you can show on repeated strong profanity, strong sexual content, and like violent stuff. And so a lot of times I do switch this over to the limited inventory, even though it does limit your reach a little bit. If your audience is big enough and target enough, then I would just keep it here. If you have a very narrow audience targeting, then you could go to this expanded. If you wanted to compare these inventory types, you can click this button and it gives a more detailed view. But for this targeting, we're going to keep it in limited inventory. And then in this exclusion types and labels, you can exclude this even a little bit more. I typically like to stay away from live streams just because you don't know what can show up on those sometimes. And then I stay away from mature audiences. Depending on what the product is, if you have like a very family-friendly video or family-friendly product, then you probably don't want to be associating with those kind of things. If you have a more of a 18+ kind of product, then you might want to leave this unchecked. But just showing you kind of the options that you could do inside of here. As we go into additional settings, this is where you can set up the conversions, the actual conversions. Like say if you have a lead form or a sell, you can import those inside of here. Devices, we're going to show to all devices. We're not going to cap that. If you have some sort of reason to only show to mobile or desktop, then this is a good way to exclude those. Frequency capping, I like to add a frequency cap. This basically means in per day, users can only see my ad up to 3 times. You just don't want to be that brand. I mean, maybe you do, that shows, to the same user 5, 10, 20 times in a single day. I think after a certain amount of time, you kind of see diminishing returns on those. So I personally like to keep my my frequency capping at 3. You could set this to whatever you'd like. You could have 10, 7 per day. You can set it per week, per month. But I like to keep it at a max of 3 per day. That way I know I'm still hitting the users, but they're not getting overly saturated with my ads. Because if you don't add a frequency cap, YouTube can show that ad quite a bit. Next, we are going to go to ad schedule. This is where you can say that you only want to run on the weekdays or only on the weekend or maybe at a certain time of night. We're not going to worry about it for this video. All right, now we get to the actual targeting of the ads. There are a lot of ways to target people inside of YouTube, and I'm going to go through each of those options right now. And kind of talk about my opinion on some of them, some of the things that I like, some things I don't like. So first is we have demographic targeting. You can go by gender, age, parental status, household income. And household income is only available in some countries, so just be aware of that. So that's the first targeting option that you have that you could do and test different things there. The next is actual audience targeting. Audience targeting. There are a lot of different audience targeting that you could do inside of this point. I'm going to show you some of the ones that you can do. So affinity audiences, this is where you could pull URLs of places that your target market might be visiting. So say I could put in like Nike.com, Adidas, Puma.com, and it will pull users who are visiting sites like those and show your ads to people who are hitting shoe sites. So that's one way that you could do like an affinity audience. In-market audience inside of here, You can go through and pick out any of these. Google defines an in-market audience as somebody who is in market for that product or service. So if you're an automotive shop and you are selling auto parts and accessories, you could click this box, and those are people who in their search browsers have been indicating that they are in market to buy auto parts and accessories. So a very good market if you were going to be selling something like those. So that's an in-market audience. Next, you could do remarketing. So you could target people who have visited your site or certain pages that you could go through and do. And then honestly, my favorite, so combination of audiences, so you can combine some of those audiences. But my favorite right here, this is the one that I really want you to pay attention to, is your custom audiences. And I'm going to create one of these right now just so you know what that looks like. Hopefully it takes me in here. Okay. So custom audiences are where YouTube is extremely powerful. Most of the targeting inside of YouTube is done from these custom audiences. And what this does is I can go in here and say people who search for any of these terms in Google. And I can type in all of the different keywords that I have. So say that we are still selling shoes. If I typed in just shoes sell and added this, or red shoes, Nike shoes, all these different search terms related to shoes, or all these very specific ones. What that's doing is if somebody searched for has searched for those things in Google or these terms in a certain period of time, now they qualify to see your YouTube ads. So you can sit here and build all of these awesome audiences based on the personas or things that you think people might be searching for in Google. And then Google will then go and show that person your YouTube ad when they go to watch a video inside of YouTube. So for this audience name, we're just gonna call this shoes, custom intent. And I recommend generally doing, at least 10 to 15, maybe even more. You're going to want to look at this weekly impression to make sure that you have an audience that's big enough. Obviously, these keywords that I just typed in are super popular, very generic, and so it's a very big audience. But as you get into more niche products, you're going to have to add more keywords to make sure that you have enough, a big enough audience to show those ads to. So we're going to save this audience. And then next, we can actually go in and target based on keywords. Now, this is different from the custom intent audience because this is people who are actually searching for those keywords inside of YouTube. So you could go through and do the same thing inside of the keywords right here, just adding like shoes or different things like that. For topics, Google has a lot of predefined topics that you go through and find. I recommend you go and look to see if they have something that relates to your product or service. These have these drop downs as well where you can get more granular. And then finally, placements. This is another very powerful tool that you can use to target people inside of YouTube. As you see here, you have specific YouTube channels or YouTube videos that you could show your ads in front of. So say for YouTube channels, let's just type in shoes and see if we could find a good channel that would be good to put our, so we have this one right here, shoe, 900 or 9,000 subscribers basically. This one, shoe on head, I'm not sure what that is about. Shoes of Hollywood, all these different channels that are related to shoes that I could choose and show ads to when people visit their videos. So something that you could do there, and then you could also target by specific channel. I do recommend if you're going to do this, or by specific video, sorry. If you're going to do this, I would recommend going in YouTube, searching for those videos, putting them in an Excel sheet, taking all those URLs. That way, when you get to this option right here, you can enter multiple URLs right here and then just put all of those YouTube links inside of there, and it'll save you a ton of time instead of having to go and find them inside of this platform directly. Then the last thing here is we have our actual bidding for cost per view. Typically, I like to keep this, I start low to see if YouTube will show my video. If I launch the campaign and then with 24 hours I don't have any views, then I will increase this cost per view. But typically, I like to start it around around like 10 cents, $10. I like to keep it around like 10 cents, see if that works, and then if not, I'll increase it or maybe even decrease it from there at that point. And then the last thing is to run a YouTube ad, you do have to have a YouTube channel, and that video does need to be posted on YouTube. It doesn't have to be a public video, it can be unlisted, and you can use the URL link from there. But it does need to, you do need to have a YouTube link to run the video ad. So say we're just going to take one from my channel right here. Let's say we grab this guy. Pause that. We can take this link and go back to here. And if you just take that link and post it, it will then populate the video. As you see, it's right here. And then here you can choose the format that you want. For us, we're going to do the skippable in-stream, which means after 5 seconds, somebody can skip this ad. And then you're going to want to add your URL here. So we're going to go www.zoco marketing. I can spell my own thing. That's your final URL, and typically I do like to add UTM parameters on here. So like UTM, like UTM source equals YouTube, and add all those things. The display URL is what people actually see when they look at this part of the ad. You do always want to add a call to action. For this one, it'd be buy my shoes, or shop now, whatever that might be. Or if I really was running this ad to for my video for a TikTok ad campaign, I could say, watch now, something like that. And then you can add a headline. You only have 15 characters, so you got to be creative with this. We're going to say learn TikTok maybe. And fit that in. YouTube does show little banners on your video when the video is showing. They kind of show up in this top left-hand corner. You can generate your own, or you can upload your own images for this, but I almost always just do auto-generated based on my channel for YouTube. And that is pretty much everything that you need to know to start off your first YouTube ad campaign. The last thing to do is to create the campaign. This is a brand new account, so it's just going to ask for my billing next. And that's pretty much everything. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tips and tricks on digital marketing and using platforms like Google, Facebook, LinkedIn. We'll see you guys next time.